Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me here live. So, if you are seeing me on a Facebook business page or over on YouTube, you can come and join us in my free group. We're eating for blood sugar balance. I love to support women doing all the things who are so busy, helping everybody else to crush the sugar cravings, to find your energy and your metabolism, even when life is busy, because so often we end up not taking care of ourselves, and then that reflects on our health. So today, I wanted to talk a little bit about finding your motivation. What do you do when your motivation to get healthy has left the building? So, has anyone ever given you a task that just seems pointless? You don't know why you are doing this thing. It just seems like, why am I doing this? And it's really hard to do something when it seems pointless, to do it, over and over again. It's been a long, long time since I've seen The Karate Kid, but it makes me think about when the Karate Kid had to wax Mr. Miyagi's car all those times and do all those other things, but Mr. Miyagi didn't tell him why he had to do all of those things. So it was really hard for him to do them. It seemed kind of pointless. So if you are gaining and losing the same 5 pounds over and over again, it's possible that you have lost your motivation. This is especially common if you have been working at this for a while, and it can start to feel pointless, right? So maybe you've been trying different things off and on. Maybe you've been on the diet bandwagon, off the diet bandwagon. You've been kind of back and forth in a lot of different ways. And maybe you find that your motivation for getting healthy is just gone. It's hard to even try anymore. You're kind of stuck in the same place. So let's talk about it. Really, your motivation to get healthy really comes down to a few things. So if you are trying to get healthy because you should, because your doctor said so, because you want a certain number from the scale, I can tell you that these things will work for a short time, but they will not work for a long time. Good morning, Gail. So these things will not help you long term to get healthy. So if you're doing it because your doctor said so, because your sister said so, because you're supposed to, because you want to be a certain size, none of that is going to really sustain you for the long term. You're going to be relying on short term motivation and willpower, which is a finite resource. So we only have so much of it in the day when we get started, and we use that up. So it's really not a long term strategy that you can rely on. So we've talked about habits before, that's one of it, but you need something even underneath the habits that's going to help you get there. You need to know your why. So, why eat healthy and why eat better? And there are three things that are involved in this: pain, pleasure, and others. So, let's talk about these three things. So, the first two are pain and pleasure. These are typically the two reasons why people do most things. You're in some kind of pain and you want to move away from it, or there is some kind of pleasure that you want to move forward, you want to move toward. I can tell you that most people, the pain is going to be the more motivating piece. Most people will move away from pain sooner than they will move towards something that is pleasurable or something that they want. So typically, pain is the biggest motivator for people. But it really also depends on who you are, too. It depends on personality and who you are. So the pain are things, as I mentioned, that you want to move away from. What pain are you having now that you want to get rid of? And sometimes we just get so used to whatever pain that we're in that we just start to ignore it and we start to become numb to it. So what's the pain that you are having now? Are you having that is related to, like getting healthy? So knee pain, you may not associate knee pain with getting healthy, but we know you reduce inflammation, you reduce sugar, you're going to help almost everybody gets an improvement in joint pain when they start to eat healthier and they reduce inflammation. Maybe it's you're feeling tired all the time. It could be that none of your clothes fit right. It could be that you don't like the way you look in your clothes. It could be that you don't have energy for the things that you used to do. So, all of those things are some of the pain that you might be in. So, take a minute to think about what's the pain that you're in that you want to move away from. It could be acid reflux. Maybe you're up at night, you're not sleeping as well because you're having acid reflux. All of these different things that can be happening as a result of our lifestyle. So, next, we want to think about what's the pleasure. So, what do you want? What do you want to feel? What do you want to be able to do? How do you want to look? How do you want your day to look? What activities do you want to get back to? So that's the pleasure piece of it. And that can be good, but as you can see, for most people, the pain is really the more motivating part to move away from the pain. But the pleasure is important as well. The third factor that's really important, I think, to define here as well for many people is others. So we are social creatures, and this will vary based on who you are and based on your personality. And I've talked about this in this group before, but sometimes others can motivate us more than we can motivate ourselves for a couple of reasons. One, it could be who else are we doing this for? Do you want to be able to run around with your grandkids? Do you want to be able to travel with your spouse? Do you want to be able to do fun things with your spouse? Do you want to not leave? Like a big motivator for me is my son, Jack. So I have two kids. I have Maggie, who's in college. She's self sufficient. Of course, I would never want, you know, to leave her in any way, but I know that she is brilliant and strong and she will be fine. I want to go do things with her, and that's is a motivating factor for her as well. But also, who would take care of Jack if I'm not here, if I'm not healthy? So I have to have longevity. I have to be around for a long time. I have to be healthy for a long time, and I want to feel good also doing it. So that's a big important piece. So who else do you want to be there for? So think about a lot of times, so many women tell me they have a moment where it occurs to them while they're running around with their grandkids, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this in 10 years. And if you really let that sink in, that can be a big motivator. Do you want to think about if you had a 2-year-old granddaughter, things that you're doing when you're 2, obviously they're running around a lot more, but think about the things that you could be doing them with them when they're 12. Think about if they don't have their grandmother when they're 12, or if their mom can't interact with them in the same way when they're 12. So those are some powerful motivators also. Also, the other place where others come into play is accountability. So, for example, there are many times when we know we should do something, but we don't do it until it requires somebody else relying on us. So, this can happen a lot, particularly for certain personality styles. And I will do this talk again soon in this group, but probably about 60 to 70% of the population is a personality style called obliger, which I am as well. And an obliger really thrives on other people relying on us. So basically, the saying for this personality type is I'm relying on you to rely on me. So if someone else is relying on me to do something, I will do it no matter what. If it's just me telling myself to do it, it's probably not going to get done. So, one example is I've been having some hearing problems in my left ear for a few years now. So basically about 4 to 6 years ago, it was in the summer. It was at night in the summer and I was laying in bed on my right side, so I was only listening with my left side, and I thought, "Oh, that's weird. Tonight there are no crickets. That's really odd." And then I rolled over onto the other side so I could hear with my right ear and not with my left, and there were a ton of crickets. And that was like, "Oh, okay, there's really something going on with my left ear." That was at least 5 years ago. Have I done anything about it yet? Well, I just did. I just did because of accountability. So, someone said, "I'm going to check in with you this week to make sure that you did schedule a screening with an audiologist to check out what's going on in your ear." But that's what it took for me to get it done. So sometimes you need accountability. So sometimes you need someone to check in with you on something. And that's one of the things I try to do in this group as well. On Monday, you can say what you want to get done for the week. And then theoretically, it can check in with you on Friday or Saturday. That's one thing I'm kind of testing out here. I will also have programs running where we will be making these changes together, and we're going to be doing those things together. So that's another way that we can have accountability. So that can be helpful as well. So it's really important to have a reason why you want to get healthy aside from just you're supposed to, because you're supposed to is not going to work. You cannot rely on willpower. That's not a long term strategy. You really need to know why you want to do this, because at the end of a long day, when you're tired, trust me when I say that the comfort will win. It's just too easy for the comfort to win. So it's important to have a why. There's other pieces with this as well. You really need to, this is really where a plan will come into play as well, because if you don't have yourself set up with what you need, then you're not going to, that's just another barrier. You're making the bar even that much higher to get over. So, for example, today I haven't gone grocery shopping and there is no, not very much real food in the house right now. So there is plenty of junk food upstairs that I could eat, but there's very little real food in the house. And I'm really staying focused. I'm doing the plan along with someone else right now. So I'm really working on, eating for blood sugar balance, eating clean with someone else. And it's making it harder. The fact I'm going to go to the grocery store once the painters let me out of the house. My house is being painted, so every opening is covered with a plastic sheet, and they're going to have to let me out of the house. But so the planning is important too, but you really need to know the why, because how many times have you had the healthy food in your fridge and you still didn't eat it, right? Because you don't have the motivation, you don't have the why. So you need to know your why before you go anyplace else, before you do the planning, before you do anything else. You need to know the why, which is the pain. What pain are you in now that you want to get rid of? The pleasure, how do you want to feel in the future? Do you want to look great in your clothes? Do you want to feel great? Do you want to have more energy? I know that when I am not eating well, I feel really bloated and gross, and I get lots of other impacts as well. So I know that that is something that I want to run away from on the pain side. I know on the pleasure side that I just feel so much better. I have so much energy. I sleep better when I'm eating healthy. And then the person outside of myself who I do this for mainly is Jack, and also my daughter and my husband. But really, Jack is going to need someone to care for him for a long time. And that's probably going to be me for a long time. So it's important to have something that's outside of you. Even if you don't have the same situation I have, you don't live in a cave by yourself. There is somebody else that you want to be there for eventually. So think about who that is and how you can add some accountability into your life. So hopefully that was helpful for you. I would love to know what your motivation is. Is there pain you're moving away from? Is there pleasure you're moving toward? Is there somebody else in your life that you are doing this for? So thank you so much for joining me. If you are just catching me, the replay will be posted shortly and you can catch this again. Thank you so much.